Don't forget the doc. Several network participants recently called into Dr. Rick Wright's Old School Sundays radio show. Check this out.
Hey, Donald Singletary down in New York, man. How you doing?
Okay, Rick. How are you?
Hey, Donald, remember when James Brown's record Hot Pants hit #1 on Music Radio 77 WABC New York back in the 70s, man?
1971. Remember it well.
And the late, great Chuck Leonard, man, my dear buddy, the best who ever did it and got away with it, man. Brother, first African-American jock on WABC New York.
Absolutely.
So, Donald, what's happening there? I got Juanita Ward here, great basketball star, also in our interface, man. But, hey, first of all, before you get into your remote broadcast from that great United States, what's that, the Army? 369th Armory in Harlem. Hey, we lost another great one this week, man, another great one.
Harvey Fuqua, yeah, absolutely. You know, and people remember his work with the Moon Glows and his great singing, but he was also an icon in music production and ownership, and was producing people up until the early 80s. In fact, he did Marvin's last album.
In fact, yes, he did. He did Marvin Gaye's last album, and the Moon Glows, man. Those doo-wop groups were incredible, weren't they?
Absolutely. That New York sound.
Well, we'd like to dedicate the show today to the memory of Harvey Fuqua, man. Dynamite brother, recorder, songwriter, producer, everything. So, Donald, what's happening in New York City this afternoon? Give us the gracious opportunity to grace our radio airways.
Well, I'm coming to you live from the Harlem Armory, home of the 369th, the famous Harlem Hellfighters. And today we had a very special event, and we had a book signing by a very special gentleman named retired Brigadier General George A. Jones. And he's a veteran of 35 years in the military, served in World War II in the Europe and Pacific theaters, and also during the Korean War, and also a veteran of 20 years of the New York City Fire Department as well. And he's just written a book chronicling his career and his philosophy, and it's called The Character of Leadership. And I think that says a lot about it. So I'm going to put him on for you right now. Rick?
Oh, yes. Bring on the General, man.
Good afternoon.
Hey, General. Pleasure to have you, man. Captain Rick Wright, United States Navy, retired here at Power 106.9 Radio, Clear Channel Radio Worldwide. Pleasure having you on air here on the 4 o'clock Funk Hour portion of our show from New York City. How you doing this afternoon?
Well, old man, I'm doing pretty good, and I'm extremely glad and proud to talk to a veteran like I am.
Well, General, this is a pleasure, man. I'm telling you, every time I think about great African Americans in the military, man, I must think about all of our pioneers, man, the Golden 13, the first brother naval officers, and I never forget, man, Lieutenant O'Flipper, man, who finished the United States Military Academy at West Point, man, and what happened to him. We finally got his record straight, though, but what can I say? Tell us about your book and tell us about your great life, General Jones.
Well, I started out as a private in Harlem's famed 369th on October 11th, 1939 as a private. And I was fortunate enough to have become a sergeant before I was 18 years old in March of 1941 when the 369th had been called into service in connection with the upcoming Second World War. Associated with that, I got commissioned as a second lieutenant in the artillery in the same year, 1942 exactly, in August the 28th, and served the better part of that war training artillery battalions throughout the South, and subsequently wound up going overseas and participated in the Red Ball Highway.
Oh, the Red Ball Express!
That's correct.
Wow.
I was in the 3535 and the 3518 Quartermaster Trucking Company.
Oh.
And was proud to have served in that effort.
General, give me your recollections of General Benjamin Davis, Sr.
Well, my recollection goes back to my enlistment, as I indicated, in October the 11th, 1939. Benjamin O. Davis, Sr. was the regimental commander of the 369th. And as you are aware, he subsequently became a brigadier general in 1941 and was assigned to the Inspector General's office. Aside from that, my knowledge of the general is kind of mute. I know he had occasion in June or July of 1943 to investigate an occurrence that happened at Camp Stewart, Georgia, when a cadre from the 369th in the form of the 207th Automatic Weapons Battalion was sent from Hawaii to form that unit. But other than that, as I indicated, considering that I was a private and he was a senior officer,
yes.
That's the extent of my knowledge of the general.
Well,
but I'm aware of him, as I indicated, because he was my commanding officer when I enlisted in 1939.
Well, I'm telling you, those recollections are outstanding and right on point, General Jones, on this wonderful Sunday afternoon here at Clear Channel Radio. So how's your book coming along?
It's coming along pretty good. Really, I did it pretty much under duress because my history or my service in the military is no different really than most other blacks who served in the military. The only difference being that I was fortunate enough to have been an officer and suffered the brunt of that position. I say that pointedly because I was aware that an individual somewhere prior to my time had made the comment that if you really disliked anybody, you made him a black officer in a white man's army and you had him messed up for life. And I must say he was absolutely right in that regard. But obviously I survived that.
All right, so get to all the Syracuse University alums throughout the world. Checking out Dr. Rick Wright, Power 106.9 Old School Sunday. On a big bad Sunday afternoon, Dr. Rick Wright live and well in Syracuse here at Power 106.9 Radio. Do it.
The network reminds you that you too may call into Dr. Rick Wright on Sundays between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check in with the doc at area code 315-428-1069. Don't forget the doc.